Now on 4 News Now, several Spokane schools placed on lockdown because of a shooting on the South Hill. What we know about the shooter.
Well, we got a break from the 80s today, but record-breaking temps are in the forecast for tomorrow, plus the chance of thunderstorms tonight in your First Alert forecast.
2 people killed in a hit and run. The woman charged with their death has killed with her car before. You're watching 4 News Now.
We start with breaking news. Police are still searching for the person responsible for a shooting on the South Hill. Thanks for joining us. I'm Aaron Luna.
I'm Kirsten O'Connor. This happened around 29th Avenue between Grand Boulevard and Pittsburgh Street. Spokane police say they got 2 calls just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. They say they believe the gunman shot at 2 cars in what appears to be a random incident. 1 person was shot, and that person has been taken to the hospital. They're expected to recover. When calls came in, many students were just getting out of school, and Spokane Public Schools says several schools in the area went on a brief lockdown. Those lockdowns were lifted within 20 minutes. The intersection on 29th and Grand is now back open. Spokane police say they are still working to track down the shooter tonight.
We're taking a live look at tonight's City Council meeting. Public drug use and possession legislation are on the agenda. Current state laws are set to expire after June 30th. State lawmakers failed to pass a bill to make possession and use of hard drugs a gross misdemeanor. Now the Spokane City Council is working to find a local solution.
City councilors are hoping to close any gaps in the laws related to public drug use ahead of those laws expiring. And our Vanessa Perez has more about what a local ordinance could mean.
State laws are set to expire at the end of June. If this ordinance passes, people using controlled substances in public would still face a simple misdemeanor. Then after July 1st, people caught with hard drugs could face harsher punishment. The clock is ticking to come up with local laws to address public drug use and possession. Right now, there is a 3-strike rule. Officers have to refer people who are caught using drugs to rehab services before an arrest can be made. City Council's proposal does include diversion work for people to get help. The City Council laid out a draft proposal of what the new laws could look like, which includes elements of proposed state legislation. The law would automatically refer people to community court.
If they don't go to community court or they wash out of community court, they get a warrant for failure to appear, and then the jail is much more likely to keep them in jail if they're not going to take up the treatment option.
Council President Begg says the proposed law doesn't have an initial jail booking because people are just being released. He says council members have heard the jail is not keeping people for misdemeanors if it's not a DUI or domestic violence case. There's concerns over the cite and release portion of the proposed law. A custodial arrest could only be made under specific cases.
The problem that we have with a cite and release only criminal code is that there is, if the person doesn't cooperate, if they don't provide their information, we're not able to take that person into custody.
The final vote happens next Monday. This is an emergency ordinance, so laws would go into effect as soon as it passes. Reporting in Spokane, Vanessa Perez, 4 News Now.
Devastating news for hundreds of people in our community tonight. Former Spokane County Sheriff's Deputy Craig Chamberlain has died. Whether you knew him from growing up in Spokane Valley or during his time as a public information officer or school resource officer, a lot of people in Spokane knew the man known as Deputy Craig.
His death over the weekend came as a shock to many, especially his family, who called the death unforeseeable. We don't know the cause tonight, but we do know his loss is being felt deeply across our community. Our Melissa Luck explains why.
This is not a story I expected to be telling today. The death of a man so full of life. I have heard from so many former Spokane journalists today, from Seattle to Los Angeles, even MSNBC. People who Deputy Craig educated about law enforcement and that education that we could pass on to the community.
It's not very often in Spokane that you see a large front-end loader Caterpillar that weighs 40,000 pounds driving down the road.
He was the face for many years of the Spokane County Sheriff's Office.
It's not all the same. Not all zones are the same, right?
Yeah, it's not, and it's kind of confusing. This one specifically at Meade High School has 2 different time frames in the morning.
Craig Chamberlain, better known to most as Deputy Craig.
There's a whole generation of people who live in Spokane now that have this different appreciation for law enforcement, what they are really there to do for you.
Longtime Spokane crime reporter Jeff Humphrey interviewed a lot of officers in his career. He said Chambo was always the coolest guy in the room, and when it came to his job, he was simply different.
I think because he was a homegrown kid out of the valley. And so he was invested in this community entirely. And so how can I, Craig Hollywood Chamberlain, help my community the most? I could do it with a badge and a gun, but no, I'm going to use TV cameras and microphones, and I'm going to school people up on what's causing crime, what are the roots of crime, what are the answers to our crime problem, and he advertised that information and made the place safer for all of us.
And he did that for 25 years, serving the same community in which he grew up, and always making sure reporters understood what was happening so we could pass that information on to you.
Craig schooled up a lot of young reporters on law enforcement, and he took the time and was patient about it and not lecturing about it, not sanctimonious about it. He just laid it out there for you so you better understood, why do I have to stand behind this tape? Why can't you tell me this answer right this second? And once you understood the rules and how it really works, then it was a lot easier to do a good job and inform our viewers better, thanks to Craig Chamberlain.
The last few years were not easy for Chamberlain. He was fired from the department and briefly ran for sheriff. But he had so much life left to live. His world revolved around his 3 daughters, and late last year, he became a grandfather.
So now to have this larger-than-life figure gone out of their lives, I think they're going to suffer the most. I feel really terrible for them.
Obviously, no one feels this loss tonight as deeply as Craig's 3 daughters, who were his entire world. If you want to read their tribute to the man they called their superhero, you can find it right now on KXLY.com. I'm Melissa Luck, 4 News Now.
We got a break from the heat today. It's coming back tomorrow.
Yes, the heat is on, as they say. And I hear there's also a slight chance of thunderstorms tonight. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker with your first alert forecast.
A slight chance of thunderstorms, a better chance that we are going to break a weather record tomorrow. Forecast high of 84 degrees. Not the first time we've hit 84 this season. We were at 84 Saturday, a record tying 82 yesterday, and now 84 tomorrow. The record for tomorrow is 82, set back in 1937. Now today we had a little break from the heat. 71 was the high in Spokane today. We were in the mid 70s in Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, and Coeur d'Alene. Staying in the 60s in St. Mary's and Pullman. It was 72 today in Lewiston. Taking a look at our satellite and radar, we had some showers that moved through the Northeast Mountains and North Idaho earlier today. Now I'm tracking some thunderstorms moving along I-90 up the Bitterroot Range. They're in western Montana right now. The potential to impact the northern panhandle later tonight will keep the slight chance of thunderstorms or showers in our forecast until about midnight. Tomorrow, blue skies and sunshine to start the day. We'll see the cumulus clouds popping up in the afternoon and the chance of isolated thunderstorms back in the forecast again in the evening. Our average high is 62. We're going to be below average in the 7-day forecast. Quite a swing to tell you about. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Kirsten.
Thank you, Chris. Tonight, a candlelight vigil was held to honor Braden Bame, who died in a tragic accident at Cheney High School last week. Those in attendance were asked to bring fishing gear that would be placed on Braden's memorial that will then be donated to a youth fishing organization.
A judge has set a new court date this month involving the gag order surrounding the quadruple murder case against Bryan Kohberger. The family of Kaylee Gonsalves filed a motion to address the gag order that prevents them from talking to the media about the case. The Supreme Court recently ruled against media outlets, including 4 News Now, on a challenge to the gag order, saying the media should have gone through the district courts first. Now that the Supreme Court has ruled, the district judge will weigh in on the Gonsalves' motion May 25th. Kohberger's preliminary hearing is scheduled at the end of June in Latah County.
Washington Governor Jay Inslee will not be running for re-election next year. He released a statement saying in part, quote, "Serving the people as governor of Washington state has been my greatest honor. During a decade of dynamic change, we've made Washington a beacon for progress for the nation. I'm ready to pass the torch." Inslee also said he will continue to work with lawmakers and community leaders to address things like the housing crisis.
The firefighters put out a house fire in the Grandview Thorpe neighborhood this morning. Crews say it started in the basement. No one was home at the time. The cause is under investigation.
Still ahead here on 4 News Now, postal workers rallied outside the post office calling for change. Their demands coming up.
4 4 News Now on your time with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
4 News Now is brought to you by Papa Murphy's.
At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
If your checking account isn't earning you money, it's time to switch to bonus checking from Numerica. The account that earns an incredible 2% annual percentage yield. That could earn you up to $500 every year or more.
It's almost like a firecracker.
It went up like a Roman candle. I brought those batteries into my home with my family, not understanding the risk.
They power everything from our cell phones to our cars. But as one local man found out, lithium-ion batteries can be ticking time bombs.
Never, ever dreamed of this happening, but it happened, and it could have killed.
I'm Derek Dice from 4 News Now. What are the risks, and what can you do to keep your family safe? Watch Thursday only on Good Morning Northwest.
How does free college or training sound? It's possible. Washington College Grant gives eligible people money for certificate programs, job training, apprenticeships, or college. Learn more at wagrant.org. That's wagrant.org.
Back by popular demand. When you shop Furniture Row,
You pay what we pay.
that's right. For a limited time, our employee pricing is available to everyone. Get 15% off any single item when you spend $9.99 or more. That means you can save big on that perfect sofa, dining table, bed, or Denver Mattress brand mattress.
Our discount is your discount.
Plus, furnish your entire home with 4 years no-interest financing. But hurry, employee pricing at Furniture Row ends soon.
It's spring decking season, which means the best time to get the best selection and savings before the summer rush hits. From the decking pros at Windsor Plywood.
It's time to shop, shop for wood.
Shop where the contractors go for the best ideas to make your backyard beautiful for summer. From a great selection of aluminum and iron rod railing to the best quality decking choices, Windsor Plywood is the one-stop shop to get it done.
Windsor Plywood.
They power everything from our cell phones to our cars. But as one local man found out, lithium-ion batteries can be ticking time bombs. I'm Derek Dice from 4 News Now. What are the risks, and what can you do to keep your family safe? Watch Thursday only on Good Morning Northwest.
A pickup truck driver hit and killed 2 people on the side of the road this weekend and then took off. Sheriff's deputies say it happened just before midnight Saturday near the intersection of West Trails Road and North Flint Road near Airway Heights in Spokane.
According to court documents, when deputies arrived on scene, they found Desmond Miller and a woman who has not been identified dead next to the road.
A short while later, deputies arrested 29-year-old Megan Skillingstad. She was found down the road with damage to the front end of her pickup. Deputies say she appeared to be drunk. Our Natalie Grant joins us in studio. Natalie, this is not the first time something like this has happened.
And Kirsten Skillingstad was involved in her first deadly hit and run back in 2011. She hit Dennis Widener while he was riding his bike in Spokane and was convicted in 2013 when she was sentenced to a year in prison. Now, 10 years later, she's accused of killing 2 more people with her pickup. Now, according to deputies, Skillingstad lost control when she was driving on Trails Road. The report says she went off the road, hitting Miller and a woman before she drove away. Now, their bodies were thrown several feet into a nearby field, and her pickup left behind some significant damage and car debris, including one of her license plates. Deputies then say someone reported her pickup about a mile from the crash scene, and she was still behind the wheel. Deputies linked the pickup to the crash because the license plate was a match and the damage to the front end. Now, Skillingstad told deputies she fell asleep at the wheel and admitted to drinking 2 beers earlier that night. Deputies then gave her several sobriety tests, which they say she failed. Now, Skillingstad made her first court appearance earlier today. There, a judge set her bail at $1 million and told her she's not allowed to drive a car under any circumstances due to the seriousness of the crime. She's due back in court next week. Reporting in studio tonight, Natalie Grant, 4 News Now.
Here are 4 things to know about your weather. Possibility of some isolated thunderstorms tonight and again tomorrow evening. Record highs on the way for Tuesday, and we're going to stay in the 80s through Thursday. And then there are some big changes coming in our weather pattern. I'll tell you all about it after the break.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
With employee pricing at Denver Mattress, you pay what we pay. Backed by popular demand, our employee discount is available to everyone for a limited time. Get 15% off any single Denver Mattress brand product when you spend $9.99 or more. And with our 365-night better sleep guarantee, you'll rest easy knowing you're getting the right mattress. Plus 4 years, no interest, and free shipping. Hurry! Employee pricing at Denver Mattress ends soon.
I'm Chad Young from the Easy Home Buyer, and I pay cash for houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast for cash, call us today for your no-obligation as-is cash offer. We buy houses in any condition, and there are no fees, no commissions, and no repairs. We buy houses with tenants, fixer-uppers, bare land, even haunted houses. Woo! Call us today or visit us online at theeasyhomebuyer.com.
Pick up the phone to inquire. Call the Easy Home Buyer.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere? Because we're busy women. We don't have time for lag or buffering.
Switch to gig internet on the Xfinity 10G network for $30 a month when you add Xfinity Mobile.
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Oh my gosh, Chris Bryant, Freddie Freeman, hustling him for the new DQ Summer Blizzard menu? Oh, 5 iconic flavors here for a limited time, like new peanut butter puppy chow.
Wow.
And s'mores is back.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow is right.
Hey, guys.
Wow.
The new DQ Summer Blizzard menu. Hustle in before it's gone.
DQ. Happy tastes good.
25 years ago, one extraordinary show danced its way into history. Riverdance. Now it's time for the next step. Experience the breathtaking phenomenon, Riverdance, the 25th anniversary show.
May 26th through 28th at First Interstate Center for the Arts. Visit BroadwaySpokane.com.
4 News Now is brought to you by Windsor Plywood.
What a scene. Well, this video shows 2 Western Washington teenagers living their dream. They're showing up to prom in Portland in a tank.
Where do you park that?
Well, right there, right in between the Honda and whatever else is in there. They even got an escort from Portland's Unipiper. Aaron Luna and I weren't so sure what the Unipiper was, but
you saw him there
Crocker's
earlier,
here.
yeah.
She's heard of the Unipiper, and the teens say it all started off as a joke, but eventually it all just fell into place.
I don't like normal very much.
Sherman, are you happy?
Heck yeah. Live your life to the fullest. Do whatever you want. That's what it's all about.
Well, they did whatever they wanted, I guess. Yeah, that thing's cruising.
That
The thing's going
seems like
pretty
Well, you know my luck with teen drivers and cars this year. Maybe that's the next step at my house.
A tank. Where do you park a tank? Anywhere you want to.
I know there are parents out there right there nodding along.
Like, yeah.
Go ahead, get the tank. I'll rent it from you. We'll rent it all the way down. Sounds good.
Oh, geez.
What if that thing has air conditioning?
I'm going to guess no, I don't think so. Well, we're going to need air conditioning. It's going to get hot. Today was our little bit of a break. Chamber of Commerce weather, highs in the lower 70s. It's still in the upper 60s in Coeur d'Alene and Spokane. Pretty sunset in progress. Not a cloudless sky. That just adds to the drama. Tonight, we do have the possibility of some isolated thunderstorms based on their current trajectory. Looks like the best chance will be in North Idaho. Partly to mostly sunny skies tomorrow. Clear to start the day, then we'll see those clouds developing in the afternoon, and once again the possibility of some isolated thunderstorms. 84 for a high. That will be a record. Here's a look at our forecast radar, and we're starting off at the current time with those thunderstorms over the Bitterroot Mountains in western Montana. Those are going to move to the north and make Clint Bonners Ferry. 11 o'clock tonight, we get another wave of energy that may bring a few showers to the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area. Based on the timing, more likely we'll just see a sprinkle here or there, but do not be surprised if you get a rumble of thunder overnight, and then we clear out and dry out for a very warm Tuesday. It is not going to stay very warm. Here's a look at our temperature trend over the next 7 days. We are well above average for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, way up here in the 80s, and then a swan dive down into the 50s on Friday. And we'll stay below average right on through the weekend. And as you can imagine, that shift in temperature is going to come along with some wet weather. Overnight lows tonight, a fairly warm night, will be in the 40s and 50s around the region. High temperatures tomorrow, 80s, even 90 in Grand Coulee. A little bit cooler down in Moscow, Pullman, Lewiston, 86 for a high. A lot of 86s on the map. Here is your planning forecast. Isolated late evening thunderstorms, a possibility tonight, Wednesday night, and Thursday night. High temperatures in the 80s. Then that system comes in, bringing rain late Thursday into Friday, and that big drop in temperatures will keep at least a chance of showers in our forecast through the weekend and right on into Monday. Overnight lows, meanwhile, will be fairly mild. We'll be in the 40s and 50s. I know with the beautiful weather this weekend in my neighborhood, there was a lot of planting. So if you've already got your tender plants in the ground, they should be in pretty good shape, even with the drop in temperatures. Certainly, if a frost looks like it's peeking its head around the corner, we will be the first to alert you, because it's too tempting on a weekend in the 80s not to get out there in the garden. Kirsten?
We talked about heating the pool over the weekend.
Yes.
That's always a good idea.
So tempting. And yes, Chris is invited whenever and you can come too, Aaron.
Yes.
Whenever we get there. Well, a potential financial crisis prevented after a weekend of tense negotiations.
JP Morgan Chase is buying most of failed First Republic Bank's assets. CNN's Chris Wynn explains how it went down and what it means for America's banks.
First Republic Bank branches opened their doors Monday morning under new management following the collapse of the regional lender.
The First Republic failure was a more traditional bank run. That money started to flow out and flow out fast.
Federal regulators seized control of the bank and its nearly $230 billion worth of assets before JP Morgan stepped in as a buyer. CEO Jamie Dimon expressing confidence on an investor call Monday morning.
Hopefully this helps stabilize everything. The American banking system is extraordinarily sound.
This is the second largest bank failure in U.S. history and the third U.S. bank to fail since March.
Interest rates have gone up at the fastest pace in 40 years. The economy's flowing. We're going to see more bank failures, but the system has proven to be surprisingly resilient.
JP Morgan Chase was already the largest bank in the United States before the buyout. Now new concerns.
Anytime there's a consolidation of market share, prices tend to go up.
Financial analyst Greg McBride says consumers should constantly be evaluating their banking options.
We've seen with checking accounts over the course of many years, monthly fees and balance requirements have gone through the stratosphere, but yet nearly 40% of banks offer a free checking account on a standalone basis. So there are alternatives out there.
I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
This might look like a normal trip to the dumpster, but it was a trash run. One principal will never forget what popped out that sent him running. That's coming up next.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app. 4 News Now welcomes Kirsten O'Connor.
Over the last few years, people expect more. They expect more from their news. That promise, that expect more promise, means that we are going to deliver. You're scrolling or you're checking a feed, we need to be there. We're going to be there. We are going to be ahead, and we are going to listen, and we are going to deliver. That's what we mean when we say expect more.
Chicago. Celebrating 25 years of Broadway Razzle Dazzle. The Associated Press calls Chicago the most entertaining musical of the decade. Paint the town again with Chicago the Musical. May 13th and 14th at First Interstate Center for the Arts. Visit BroadwaySpokane.com.
It's spring decking season, which means the best time to get the best selection and savings before the summer rush hits. From the decking pros at Windsor Plywood.
It's time to shop, shop for wood.
Shop where the contractors go for the best ideas to make your backyard beautiful for summer. From a great selection of aluminum and iron rod railing to the best quality decking choices, Windsor Plywood is the one-stop shop to get it done.
Windsor Plywood.
Your work is your calling. It drives your days and powers your nights. But if your teeth no longer work as hard as you do, Aspen Dental is here with smile replacement solutions that work for your life. Whether it's your first step or a fast fix, you can get in today for all your denture needs, all at an affordable price. Right now, get new dentures for $30 per month per arch with 60 months financing. $1,770 total payments, including interest. Aspen Dental, anything to make you smile. Book today.
4 News Now is brought to you by Give Big, May 2nd and 3rd.
Well, here's your standard trip to the dumpster turned into a very scary situation.
Just a standard trip.
It seemed like it. Woo! Not so much. That principal was just trying to unlock the dumpster and the black bear jumped right out of it. The principal says the bear must have been trapped inside after squeezing in for a quick meal.
Another teacher just shut the door on the principal and didn't even let him in the side door. Just like, nope.
He walked around at the end.
He's like, I'm closing. Sorry, buddy.
It's like, all right.
You are not my pal.
Whew. It's a big bear.
A big bear. Around the nation, the massive manhunt in Texas for the gunman accused of killing 5 people, including a 5-year-old, continues.
More than 250 members of law enforcement, including the FBI, have joined the search, and they're going door to door trying to find the shooter.
CNN's Ivan Rodriguez has the latest and what officials say led to the shooting.
Six people were killed and dozens more were injured in a massive car pileup in Illinois. Officials saying that the crash was caused by a dust storm. The pileup included 20 commercial vehicles and between 40 and 60 cars, including 2 tractor trailers that caught fire.
Starting next Thursday, federal employees will no longer have to be vaccinated against COVID-19. The White House says the requirement has saved lives, but is no longer necessary. It's been the subject of much controversy. Last year, the Supreme Court said the federal government cannot mandate businesses to require vaccination, but can do so for its own employees and certain healthcare workers. The policy will end on the same day the public health emergency for COVID-19 is set to expire.
The U.S. Treasury Secretary says the U.S. can default on its debt as soon as June 1st if Congress doesn't act soon. Secretary Janet Yellen says that it's impossible to give an exact date, but noted this past debt limit impasses have shown that waiting until the last minute can cause serious harm, including damage to business and consumer confidence, as well as increased short-term borrowing costs for taxpayers.
We have much more coming up on this special edition of 4 News Now,
including what creatures are causing the city officials to close Falls Park Pond.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
With Furniture Row employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Right now, our employee pricing is available to everyone. Get 15% off any single item when you spend $9.99 or more. Plus, 4 years, no interest financing. But hurry, employee pricing at Furniture Row ends soon.
You've worked hard your whole life.
Now when you need Social Security disability, they make you work even harder.
Paperwork, phone calls, delays, just to get denied?
You've paid into the system this whole time.
And this is how you get treated?
That's when you call 1-800-LAW-0842.
We've helped thousands of people get the benefits they deserve, even if they've been denied.
We'll navigate the system and work hard for you.
Can't work and need your Social Security disability benefits?
Choose 2. Choose Russell and Hill.
Oh, no signal. I don't have home internet.
Oh, that's a red flag. Your mom looks a lot like me.
Yeah, couple of hotties.
Thank you.
There's dead spots all over this place.
There really are. Oh, wow.
Nothing. Are you getting a good signal?
No, I'm not.
It's time for real home internet. Get gig internet on the Xfinity 10G network for just $30 a month when you add unlimited mobile. Switch today.
I'm Chad Young from the Easy Home Buyer, and I pay cash for houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast for cash, call us today for your no-obligation as-is cash offer. We buy houses in any condition, and there are no fees, no commissions, and no repairs. We buy houses with tenants, fixer-uppers, bare land, even haunted houses. Woo! Call us today or visit us online at theeasyhomebuyer.com.
Pick up the phone to inquire. Call the Easy Home Buyer.
It's time. Time to let your soul breathe a little, to feel the sun on your face, and to feel alive again. It's time to dust off the clubs, to treat yourself, and test out your lungs. It's time to get away to the place that's not so far away, Lakeside Coeur d'Alene. Win a dream giveaway at cda4.fun.
With employee pricing at Denver Mattress, you pay what we pay. Get 15% off any single Denver Mattress brand product when you spend $9.99 or more. Plus 4 years no interest and free shipping. Hurry! Employee pricing at Denver Mattress ends soon.
Joy destroys the mail.
Postal workers rallied outside the post office this afternoon calling for change. This rally is one of several that have started across the U.S. in recent days.
Our Jordan Smith joins us from the post office downtown on what's prompting these and what the post office is saying.
Well, we've been following this story for months, and postal workers are finally reaching a breaking point. They tell me they're exhausted, they're understaffed, they're underpaid, and now they're demanding change.
Roughly a dozen postal workers gathered to air out their grievances, all of whom critical of the Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy.
Our message to DeJoy is to stop destaffing the post offices, to stop closing it. What he is doing is affecting every single American.
The workers fiercely standing against DeJoy's 10-year proposal to reinvigorate the Postal Service. One of those steps includes installing sorting and delivery centers, which would essentially consolidate post offices into one regional facility that would help disperse mail in packages. Workers say by doing this, countless jobs will be eliminated. Postal workers then shared with us the cycle they've been in for years.
Not having enough carriers, not having enough clerks, people get burnt out and then they quit. We had career employees that had 20 years and just walk up and leave. You know, post office used to be a really good job and people are tired. They can't do it anymore.
This rally, one of several across the nation in recent days. Postal workers protesting in Tampa Bay, Chicago, and Salt Lake, all of whom citing identical concerns. We asked about these grievances to a spokesperson from the USPS. Their statement, in part, reads, quote, "The position being presented here by the leadership of the American Postal Workers Union is absent of anything based in reality. We have focused steadily on stabilizing our workforce, resulting in employee availability and overtime requirements being at the most favorable levels in many years." Later saying 98% of the nation's population receives their mail and packages in less than 3 days. We showed this response to the people we spoke with.
The nation's population receives the mail and packages in less than 3 days. Are they actually asking these people? Because there's a lot of people that aren't even getting mail for 3 days.
They're not increasing wages for our workers. They're making carriers work harder and longer hours. Most of our carriers are on 8-hour restrictions medically now.
Postal workers seemingly everywhere, reaching a breaking point. In Spokane, Jordan Smith, 4 News Now.
Live look over Spokane and the Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena. We've got some blue sky and some clouds out there as well. We'll be in and out of the clouds tonight with the possibility of some isolated thunderstorms. Right now, very isolated thunderstorm activity. We have to go into Montana just to the north of Thompson Falls. I've been tracking this thunderstorm working its way to the northwest along the Idaho-Montana border, and that is drifting toward the Sandpoint area, but it is not moving very quickly quickly. We still have the potential for more thunderstorms this evening, but again, they will be on a very isolated basis. High temperatures today. We had a pretty good drop from 82 yesterday to 71 today in Spokane. It was 83 in Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, as well as Coeur d'Alene. Stayed in the 60s in Moscow and Pullman. That temperature is still above average, even though it's the coolest on the map. 80 today in Omak. Tuesday's highs, we're going to be right back up in the 80s after a one-day break. Even the 90s in Grand Coulee, 79 in Pullman. That 84-degree reading in Spokane would be a record. Our forecast high of 84, the record high 82, set back in 1937. Blue skies and sunshine for the first part of the day. We'll see a few clouds developing in the afternoon and evening with isolated thunderstorms possible again tomorrow evening. I'll be back to show you the computer model, go over the timing on those storms in just a few minutes. Kirsten?
Thank you, Chris. Well, starting tomorrow, crews will be working to reconstruct the South Pedestrian Bridge at Riverfront Park. According to the city, crews will be installing a new deck, replacing corroded beams, and replacing the lighting and electrical system there. The project is expected to be finished by spring of next year.
A local pond is closed because an invasive species of snails, like this one, have been found in the water. The city of Post Falls says snails were most likely illegally dumped from people's aquariums into Falls Park. The city also says they'll be using different removal techniques for the remainder of the year. Also, because of the snails, the Idaho Department of Fish and Game will not be filling the pond with rainbow trout this year.
As you're out in the sun, don't forget your sunscreen. Skin cancer is one of the most common and most preventable cancers. And today is Melanoma Monday, a campaign raising awareness about this type of skin cancer. While anyone can get melanoma, some risk factors make it more likely. Dermatologist Allison Larson says age, lighter skin and hair, family history, and of course, sun or tanning bed exposure increases your risk. The best way to lower your risk is by protecting your skin with clothing or sunscreen.
Brand, the type, honestly, it really doesn't matter as much as someone's willingness to use it and to reapply.
Dr. Larson says keeping an eye on your skin is critical. If something stands out, Larson says that doesn't necessarily mean it's melanoma, but it's a good reason to see a doctor.
The man who has been called the godfather of artificial intelligence is speaking out on the dangers of the technology he helped develop. Jeffrey Hintons says he recently quit his job at Google so he could speak freely about the dangers of AI. His work on neural networks shaped AI systems that power many of today's products. Hinton's decision to step back from the company comes amid growing concerns about AI's potential for spreading misinformation and displacing jobs. He says he's concerned about both of those risks, saying AI could create a world where many will not be able to know what is true anymore. The Seattle Kraken are set to begin round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they've already made history, winning in round 1. Coming up in sports, Alex Crescenti has a preview of their matchup with Dallas.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
100% ribeye beef in a burger. Yep, 100% ribeye beef in a burger. My Ribeye Steakhouse burgers. All the flavor of a juicy ribeye steak in a burger. Did I mention they're made with 100% ribeye beef?
Song 82, please. You broke this heart of stone.
When it comes to what's best in a mattress,
Big ol' springs.
Memory foam, foam. Denver Mattress says, why not both? Introducing the Doctor's Choice Hybrid with the cooling full body comfort of gel memory foam and individually wrapped coils featuring Boss technology. All packed in this easy to manage box. Choose from the luxury firm, Plush, and Eurotop. And rest easy knowing it's backed by our 365-night better sleep guarantee. The Doctor's Choice Hybrid, exclusively at Denver Mattress.
25 years ago, one extraordinary show danced its way into history. Riverdance. Now it's time for the next step. Experience the breathtaking phenomenon, Riverdance, the 25th anniversary show.
May 26th through 28th at First Interstate Center for the Arts. Visit BroadwaySpokane.com.
It's spring decking season, which means the best time to get the best selection and savings before the summer rush hits. From the decking pros at Windsor Plywood.
It's time to shop, shop for wood.
Shop where the contractors go for the best ideas to make your backyard beautiful for summer. From a great selection of aluminum and iron rod railing to the best quality decking choices, Windsor Plywood is the one-stop shop to get it done.
Windsor Plywood.
My legendary mozzarella sticks are back, and they come with, wait for it, keep waiting, marinara sauce. You asked for it, you got it. You can thank me later. Get them as part of my mini munchies for just $3.50.
4 News Now is brought to you by the Plant Farm.
Grab your hat, your sunglasses. The Beach Boys are performing at Northern Quest Resort and Casino August 28th. Tickets start $40 and go on sale this Friday, 10 a.m.
Well, we have got some good weather to put you in the Beach Boys mood. But first, a couple of challenges. Here's a look at our almanac. 71 today, 62 is our average high. We had a couple days in the 80s over the weekend. Drop today, but we're going to be right back up in the 80s tomorrow. But we do have the chance of some thunderstorms thanks to an area of low pressure that is going to be pretty well stationary, may meander a bit off the California coast, that is going to be sending us the instability needed to bring those thunderstorms around every late afternoon and evening through Thursday. Here's a look at our forecast, starting off at our current time. Low pressure right off the coast, and as energy circulates around that low, it will occasionally make it all the way up into the inland northwest. The best chance, of course, in the late afternoon. Here's 24 hours from now, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, with the chance of thunderstorms throughout the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area and down into western Montana. Let's take a closer look. We're going to start off again at the current time. Tonight, we still have the possibility of an isolated rumble of thunder, mainly in North Idaho. Otherwise, expect partly cloudy skies. Here's 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. May see a few more clouds move through in the afternoon. And then by 5 o'clock, that chance of some isolated showers and thunderstorms developing around the region. And that will be with us through the evening. We are drying out by tomorrow after midnight, and that should stay dry then until, once again, tomorrow or Wednesday afternoon. Here's a closer view right around the Spokane area. This computer model brings in the chance of thunderstorms a little bit earlier than I think is the case. Here is 5 o'clock tomorrow. It's showing that we could see those thunderstorms as early as 4. I think it's more likely in the evening, but here's 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, about the time folks are heading out to dinner or maybe a bike ride home from work. Just prepare that you could have a brief thunderstorm. If you do get caught in one, it will not be around for long, however. Here's a look at your planning forecast. Temperatures in the 80s for the next 3 days. Those isolated thunderstorms developing in the afternoon and evening. Then a big drop in our temperatures down to 59 on Friday with the chance of rain, a very good chance of rain. Showers continue off and on through the weekend with temperatures in the 60s. More rain to start next week. Overnight lows through the 7-day forecast will be in the 40s and 50s. I don't see any sign of any widespread frost or freeze in the 7 or even 8 to 14-day forecast. So if you did do some planting during this recent warm streak, you should be in pretty good shape. Of course, we will be the first to alert you if we are in danger of a frost, although the rule of thumb for planting, typically May 15th, but when you have a weekend in the 80s, that is hard to resist. Kirsten?
Thank you, Chris. Around the world tonight, the countdown is on for the coronation of King Charles later this week.
While the excitement is building, so is the controversy. ABC's Linnell Moise has more.
With just 5 days to go until the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla, royal superfans are already lining up.
What we're doing for king and country.
More than 1 million people are expected to line the streets of London, but only 2,000 special guests will be inside Westminster Abbey Saturday for the event. Prince Harry will be there, but his attendance will be brief.
Maybe even just 24 hours in the UK as he flies in, attends that coronation ceremony, skips everything else afterwards and gets on a plane straight back to LA.
Preparations well underway for the big day, with more than 7,000 military personnel participating in dress rehearsals over the weekend. And with so many people coming to town, businesses are taking advantage, rolling out themed merchandise and experiences. Even Legoland is getting in on the fun, creating this tiny version of the coronation complete with a replica of Buckingham Palace. And women from a small village outside London came up with their own way to celebrate, creating this knitted version of the event.
We are showing that we are supporting him in one of the few ways that we can.
But amid the excitement, controversy. In an unprecedented move, during the coronation, the Archbishop will ask the public tuning in to vocally pledge allegiance to King Charles and his successors. Critics call the oath offensive and tone-deaf, pointing out that it asks people to swear allegiance to Prince Andrew, who, despite being stripped of his royal titles, is still technically a successor. The cost of the coronation also raising eyebrows.
It just doesn't sit quite right.
Reportedly costing taxpayers $125 million as the public faces a higher cost of living with historic inflation.
They could be paying for it themselves.
Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
Arby's, 2 for $7 every day. Yee! Classic beef and cheddar hard. 2 of those things for just $7. Arby's, we have the meat.
It's almost like a firecracker.
It went up like a Roman candle. I brought those batteries into my home with my family, not understanding the risk.
They power everything from our cell phones to our cars. But as one local man found out, lithium-ion batteries can be ticking time bombs.
Never, ever dreamed of this happening, but it happened, and it could have killed.
I'm Derek Dice from 4 News Now. What are the risks, and what can you do to keep your family safe? Watch Thursday, only on Good Morning Northwest.
Chicago. Celebrating 25 years of Broadway Razzle Dazzle. The Associated Press calls Chicago the most entertaining musical of the decade. Paint the town again with Chicago the Musical.
May 13th and 14th at First Interstate Center for the Arts. Visit BroadwaySpokane.com.
Hi, I need new tires. Perfect timing. Right now, during our tire savings event, when you buy 3 tires, you get the 4th for only $1.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Right? Can you imagine finding a tire for less?
Sorry, honey. Mama needs a tire.
No, definitely not.
No.
Let's get you those tires.
Okay.
Right now, during our tire savings event, buy 3 tires and get the 4th for only $1. Toyota Service Centers. Keep your Toyota a Toyota.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
Because we're busy women. We don't have time for lag or buffering.
Switch to gig internet on the Xfinity 10G network for $30 a month when you add Xfinity Mobile.
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Arby's, 2 for $7 every day. A classic, a favorite, an Arby's legend. 2 of those things for just $7. Arby's, we have the meat.
4 News Now is brought to you by STCU Business. Partner up.
A year ago, the Seattle Kraken were playing a makeup game in Winnipeg as they missed out on the playoffs during their inaugural season by a wide margin. But fast forward to now, the Kraken just became the first squad in NHL history to beat the defending Stanley Cup champions in their first playoff series as they held off the Colorado Avalanche in Game 7 last night. And while this season doesn't come as some surprise that no one saw coming, the turnaround is quite remarkable. Seattle made history this year as the most improved expansion franchise in NHL history. That includes 46 wins. That's 19 more than they had last year. And they finished with 100 points, which is 40 more than they had in their inaugural season. And the players and coaches chalk that up to having so many guys returning in year 2.
We were close last year, but I think this extra year brought us a lot closer together. There's a lot more chemistry. Guys are having fun, enjoying it. I mean, it's a little bit easier when you're winning a lot more.
A lot of the core group is still remaining, however, and that that group has remained pretty resilient, even through year 1 and all the way through this year. So, that resiliency is a big factor as you get into playoff time. And
Game 1 between the Kraken and Stars is set for 6:30 tomorrow evening. Seattle enters as underdogs for the second straight series. And while the Stanley Cup playoffs are advancing, so too is the NBA, who just finished up their round 1 over the weekend. And one of the 8 teams moving on are the defending champion Golden State Warriors, who are helped led by former Washington State Cougar Klay Thompson. Now, the Warriors are set to face off against the Los Angeles Lakers. And Klay's dad, Michael, was himself a former Laker turned team broadcaster, and I think it's safe to say that dad isn't exactly going to be rooting for his son in this one.
I don't know. I really don't know. If I had to guess, probably his employer, but I'm just excited. I have so many great memories with him, watching the Lakers, watching Kobe, watching Shaq and Pau and the rest of the gang, so I'm just really excited to stick it to the team or at least try to stick to the team that, I grew up rooting for.
So it will be the Cougs versus the Zags once again as Klay's Warriors will go up against Rui Hachimura and the Lakers. Game 1 is tomorrow night from Chase Center. And the hits keep on coming for the Washington State men's basketball team. After multiple starters already announced they would be departing from the program, another big domino fell today as forward DJ Rodman has reportedly entered the transfer portal. This comes as a big surprise after Rodman himself announced back in February that he's going to be returning for one more year. During the 2022-2023 season, he averaged almost 10 points and 6 rebounds a game while helping lead the Cougs back to the NIT for the second straight year. In his 4 seasons in Pullman, Rodman started 42 games. And staying in Pullman, former Washington State defensive back and Gonzaga prep star Armani Marsh has reportedly accepted an invite to the New York Jets rookie minicamp. Marsh went undrafted in this past weekend's NFL draft, but he's still going to get a shot at making it to the next level. In his 5 seasons in Pullman, he played 46 games, racking up 127 solo tackles and bringing in 4 interceptions. He's actually going to be joining defensive back Derek Langford, who signed with New York as an undrafted free agent this past weekend after he went undrafted. Aaron, Kirsten, send it back over to you.
Alex, thank you.
A message for parents tonight to help protect your children from sexual abuse by teaching kids about body boundaries.
ABC's Alexis Christophorous spoke to an expert who has some important tips.
We want children out there to know that they are in control of who touches or sees their bodies.
It's horrifying to think a child could be a victim of sexual abuse. But according to the American Association of Pediatrics, 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 20 boys will experience sexual abuse or sexual assault by the time they reach age 17. The AAP says kids who feel they are the boss of their own bodies are less likely to be sexually abused, and they're more likely to report anything concerning to a trusted adult. So how do you teach young ones about body safety and boundaries? Start with using proper terms for body parts.
So instead of nicknames, to actually say the words of genitals, such as penis, vagina, vulva, and buttocks. This way kids know that that is a private part and it's inappropriate for someone other than maybe a parent or a physician to see or ask about them.
Go over the difference between okay versus not okay touches.
If their children do or see something that is inappropriate, that parents reinforce that and say, hey, that type of touching is not okay.
Don't force affection.
And at first, this might be a little difficult for parents, But children should also be able to live in their own comfort zone and not be forced to hug or kiss anyone, even relatives. If children don't feel comfortable being in close physical presence with someone else, that's okay, and parents and caretakers should respect that.
Explain the concept of consent.
In popular media, we often think of consent as referring to sexual interactions, but it's broader than that. Consent also involves playful touching, hugs, kisses, grabbing, even if it's not meant to be something sexual at all.
And encourage questions.
It's important for all of us to regularly talk to children about all these topics and to have an open ear and let them know that they can come to you with any questions or concerns.
Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
Get the tax break you deserve at Walker's Furniture, as they offer a double sales tax discount or no minimum purchase, no money down, 5 years financing with 60 equal payments.
Freshen up your living room or dine in style this week at Walker's.
4 News Now anchor team, not just in the newsroom, but in the communities and in real life. And we'll always be there when you need us. It's what we mean when we say, expect more on 4 News Now.
It's spring decking season, which means the best time to get the best selection and savings before the summer rush hits. From the decking pros at Windsor Plywood.
It's time to shop, shop for wood.
Shop where the contractors go for the best ideas to make your backyard beautiful for summer. From a great selection of aluminum and iron rod railing to the best quality decking choices, Windsor Plywood is the one-stop shop to get it done.
Windsor Plywood.
25 years ago, one extraordinary show danced its way into history. Riverdance. Now it's time for the next step. Experience the breathtaking phenomenon, Riverdance, the 25th anniversary show.
May 26th through 28th at First Interstate Center for the Arts. Visit BroadwaySpokane.com.
You work hard for your money, and now you can get up to $1,200 back on state taxes you already paid with the Washington State Working Families Tax Credit. Visit workingfamiliescredit.wa.gov.
This is a town called Basic. It's pretty hard to stand out around here. But if you pull up in a 2023 Nissan Rogue, you'll stand out before your feet even hit the pavement.
Can you make mine look like that?
Anything but basic. The 2023 Nissan Rogue. Get a low $399 per month lease on Rogue or get 0% financing for 36 months on select models.
Isolated thunderstorms, watching one moving north of Thompson Falls and another has just developed to the northeast of Potlatch. You may hear a rumble at your house tonight.
Pretty normal for this time of year.
Exceedingly normal. 84 degrees is not normal.
Not exceedingly normal. Goodness gracious.
But here we go. No one's complaining.
Saw a lot of people with sunburns already.